Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm discussing Yuki Tsunoda's transfer from RB to Red Bull and Liam Lawson's subsequent transfer from Red Bull to RB. I'm going to talk about how I expect both their performance to be at their new team, as well as if it was a good decision in the first place. First, I want to discuss Yuki's move to Red Bull from Racing Bulls. This took place because of Liam Lawson's poor performance, and in my previous video I discussed how I think that Red Bull might be shooting themselves in the foot by having Liam in the car and having not promoted Yuki in the first place. But that doesn't mean I actually think this was a good move. If Red Bull wanted to have Yuki in the car and didn't actually have faith in Liam, they should have done that from day one and let him have the full season along with the preseason practice and just a few more races to get acclimated with that car, because clearly it's a tricky car to drive. That's not what happened. Obviously, they put Liam in the car and they had Liam in for preseason testing for the first two races and then made the switch, which in my mind just shows kind of incompetence and the Red Bull leadership. And I know that some people will find that to be kind of a hot take, but they're coming off of not winning the Constructors last year due to this issue of having the second car flounder. And instead of giving Liam time, and just a few months ago they were talking about how they have so much faith in his ability to work under pressure when the times get tough. But in reality, as soon as times get tough, they don't even give him a chance to show what he's worth. They had a very challenging race in Australia with the weather conditions, and then the sprint in China. And they're moving to a race where Liam has performed well and knows quite well. So the fact that they didn't give him this other race makes me question not only their motives, but their true decision making. And the reason I say I question their motives is the fact that it's the Japanese Grand Prix. Honda owns part of Suzuka, or part of Honda rather owns Suzuka, and it makes me feel as if this wasn't necessarily Red Bull's decision. It was more of Honda's choice to get Yuki in that car due to Liam's poor performance, which from their perspective and their business case, I can totally understand why they would want to do that, particularly for their home race. But with Honda leaving Red Bull and with everything that's going on, again, it just makes me question the true leadership that the Red Bull management has over that team, and makes me wonder if they're going to continue to struggle further in future years with this second driver. Now, I want to discuss the performance that I expect out of both Yuki and then Liam going to the RB team. Suzuka is one of the tracks that Red Bull traditionally has performed quite well at, and obviously we're seeing that this year's car isn't performing as well as prior years, though last time they were at this race, Red Bull won with a 1-2, and this might be a really great intro race for Yuki. On the flip side of that, there's a tremendous amount of pressure. Again, he didn't get the previous two races to warm up. He didn't get preseason practice, or preseason testing, and this is his home crowd, and the pressure is going to be on him to perform. It was always going to be on him to perform day one. Obviously, he just saw what happened with Liam and Red Bull's lack of tolerance of failure. So I really hope that Yuki performs well for his sake and his career in F1, but I think that it will be a challenging weekend. Obviously, things could go the other way. It could be the total opposite, where the home crowd gives him energy and helps him perform well, but I expected that just to be way more pressure than he otherwise would have been facing in an already tough environment. As far as Liam's performance at RB goes, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, obviously, and he's going to really want to prove that demoting him to that second team was the wrong choice. we've heard comments from Max and both Max and Liam that the Red Bull is really challenging to drive. And I wonder if we're going to see throughout the season that Liam starts performing better than Yuki in that Red Bull. Max has, alluded to the fact that maybe this year that RB is quicker, and I don't think that's true necessarily. It might be more consistent, but have a slower overall threshold for performance. But it will be interesting to see how Liam takes hold of that and see if he can really have like a second life to this and start writing the narrative that he is a competent, skilled driver as opposed to this person that Red Bull just tossed aside. I'll be curious to see what that ends up looking like moving forward, particularly into the next year. Again, the Honda ties that have really helped Yuki along are no longer going to be with them in the Red Bull stable, and so they're moving to Aston Martin. Will he have a spot there? It's hard to say with Alonso and then Stroll being the son of the owner. And then if Liam does perform well this season, will he be taking Yuki's seat if Yuki doesn't perform well? Or if Yuki is good enough, will he stay? These are all questions that I'll be really interested to see play out in the next coming months and throughout the season and into next year. But with that, we'll just get our first look at it this race weekend, and I'll be keeping my eye on the performance of those two drivers in particular.